A warm welcome to our live event, Premium Color Design. I am Peter Bubendorf. I am acting as a Managing Director of Invicon Chemical Solutions. But I am not alone. In this meeting I am assisted by two girls, two my colleagues. First of all, Mariana Georgoulis.
Hi.
Mariana is in our team the application engineer. She's close to all the technical questions, all to application information, and will handle this part for you. And next to me it's Simona Petku, and she is responsible
nice meeting you.
in the marketing services team. And she was finally the one who met Sally first at the Vicenza fair in January this year.
This year, yes.
Genau. So, in the next hour we look forward to a joint journey into the world of this premium color design on watches, on jewelries and other applications. And we try to give you a first introduction into the systems we have available. Then we will follow up with some information on the technical steps, how to produce from the metal substrate to the final product. We will continue and introduce you to the equipment which is necessary to handle all these steps. And finally, we would like to offer you really some inspirations on high-end color designs, and we have prepared some samples to give you a better view in what is finally possible with the systems.
So I would say we start with our presentation. Please, if you have any questions, write them down, and we will have time after our presentation for the Q&A. And yeah, Peter.
Yeah, I will now start with the presentation, and maybe to explain a little bit what we understand on premium color design. You find here three brands. It's HyCeram, it's LuxArt, it's Luxon. These are basically the material, the concepts we are working on in jewelry and watch design. And this is also our idea, that we feel that color design is a language everyone in the world understands, regardless in which cultural environment and wherever this person is. If we go further on, to give a color to a jewelry is one thing, but important for us is that besides the color, we create really some additional values to the object, to the watch or to the jewelry piece. So not the color itself is the important, but the color and the extra value, which is our focus and our core aspect in this premium color world. And when we talk about fascinating values, first of all, an important part is these hard and solid surfaces we create with each of these systems available. It's a brilliant radiance, and it has also, the surfaces has also a cool haptic. So it touches not like a hot plastic, it's a cool haptic when you touch to these surfaces. Also the expressive color impact the HyCeram, the LuxArt or the Luxon material makes available are durable, and most important, the colors are stable all over the time. So it's not a yellowing which happens on some other materials. Yellow is just on yellow, and yellow will not be in a white which will yellow after some time. So the color stability is also in our aspect one thing which is important when it comes to color values. Important also is the individual design styles which are available. we can create opaque surfaces, transparent colors, we can create pearl, or even some luminescence effects, which are most important in the watch industry for watch hands, for example. The color elements, which are high precisely to get achieved in a smooth, in a high glossy one, in a matte one, or in a textured one, may be available after some laser engravings, for example. Some designs options which are available more and more by our customers are outside veneering, for example, direct stone setting into the material, which we show you some examples later on. Laser engraving, as I mentioned it, and refilling with some other contrast colors are also some design options after the first color development we have done. And finally, we see that a combination of stone, color, and metal is the architecture of high-end jewelry and premium jewelry object finally. Yeah, let us have a look a bit closer into the systems, and I would like to start with an overview of our systems which are available. As I mentioned, you see 3 different brands starting from Luxon, LuxArt and HyCeram. And these are 3 different material concepts based on a design acrylate system, which is branded as Luxon, a design composite which was developed a few years ago with LuxArt, and our premium product, which is HyCeram, and it's a kind of a hybrid ceramic concept. And if we look a bit closer into the materials, we can see that the content of ceramic is different in the various systems available. For example, Luxon, it's a design acrylate. We have a ceramic-free solution developed. With LuxArt, we have a concept developed which is based on a 35% ceramic content. This is, by the way, the maximum light can cure it. And finally, we have HyCeram, which is available in a 60% ceramic content. So, no ceramic until 60 ceramic is the playground of the materials in terms of the ceramic, microfine ceramic powder. A different is also how are these materials cured. All these materials are available in a liquid form. They're coming out directly from cartridges or cans, pre-mixed and ready to use. And they get hard in the case of Luxon by a special blue light. It's not a UV light, it's a blue light in a wavelength of about 450 nanometers. The same is LuxArt. LuxArt is also a light curing material in this blue light area. But HyCeram requires heat and pressure to get cured, as the light cannot go through a content of 60% ceramic. And the ceramic content is also very, very important for the surface hardness. If you see, Luxon creates a surface hardness finally of 140 Newton per square millimeter. When LuxArt is involved with a 35% ceramic, the surface hardness increases already to 210 Newton per square millimeter, and it goes up on 410 Newton per square millimeter when it is related to HyCeram with a 60% ceramic. So the ceramic content is crucial for the surface hardness we achieve finally. But if you see these numbers from 140 to 410, if you would compare this to, let's say, an epoxy material, even Luxon with 140 Newton is double as high as any epoxy material can offer. So the surface hardness on all the three materials are very, very high and really creates this additional value we are talking on. So let's go into the details, and let's start with Luxon, as we said. If you look into the left picture, it's an SEM picture. It's almost dark as it is an 95% ceramic free and organic matrix, which creates the hardness. The material is available in these cans of 20 and 50 milliliters. And on the right side, you see there are some standard colors available directly from that cans. Additionally, also some sparkling powders, from sparkling silver to sparkling red, gold into bronze material. That's how we start our journey. Some advantages, benefits, what you can create, and this was finally our basic idea why we developed this material, was that with this kind of Luxon materials you can create transparent and opaque surfaces. So the basic idea was to have a material which also enables our customers to create color transparent surfaces, and many of our customers combine Luxon with other materials to create then the final piece. It's an attractive surface hardness, as we mentioned, for 140 Newton per square millimeter. It's very efficient in the blue light curing, so in a few minutes the liquid material gets completely hard. It's already a single component material, so no mixing of any material is necessary. Everything is pre-mixed, and that's a big advantage in the application, because in all the mixing processes there is always a risk of getting air bubbles into the material. Sparkling powers enlarges the creativity, and we have also some neon or daylight colors available, and of course these surfaces are getting grinded and polished and create finally then this high-end surface quality we want to achieve. Yeah, that was Luxon as a start. If we continue now to LuxArt, you see on the next picture a different one. If you look into this microscope picture on the left side, here you see quite some little white spots in different sizes. And all these white spots are so-called microfine ceramics, which are in part of this material. And if you look into the particle size, this is between 0.3 and 0.8 micron. So each of this ceramic material is less than 1 micron. And this is, by the way, the most expensive part into this material concept. But this enables to create a high glossy surface finally. So the bigger the ceramic particles are, the more difficult it is to create really this high glossy shine in the final finishing stage then. So particle size, and you see much more materials are involved in this composition, starting from microceramics, as we just mentioned, 35%. We have some organic matrix. It's a liquid like a honey, for example. We need, of course, some color pigments, which are necessary to create the different colors. Nanoparticles, which are part of it and responsible for the flow of the material, but also have an impact on the hardness. We need some initiator who tells the material, now you should start getting to become hard. And finally, we need some silane treatment to create a really a final bond between all these elements of this composition finally. On the right side you see, or in between, you see the cartridge. All what I mentioned now is already available in cartridges, ready to use cartridges in different sizes. On the right side you see the colors which are available in the standard form. And of course we make a lot of individual colors as well. So that's a bit an insight into LuxArt. As I said, 35% ceramic, filled up in cartridges, ready to use, available in 18 different colors, in different sizes, in smaller and bigger cartridges. If we look here in some benefits or advantages, yes, this is also a single component material, as there is no mixing and there is an unlimited processing time. It's not that you have a limited time, so as long as the blue light is not affected, you can really endless work with the material. It is very scratch resistant. The surface hardness, as we mentioned, is in a range of 210. It's almost double of the unfilled material. It has really an excellent color and UV stability, so it's really minimal yellowing or almost not yellowing. As on Luxon, it has an efficient light curing process. Yeah, grinding, polishing, even laser engraving are possible. There is also a really good bond strength to metal. The figures are 27 to 29, also Newton per square millimeter. But if you look it into reality, to take the material off from the metal substrate, you would require between 270 to 290 kilos to get it from there. So this means 27 to 29 Newton per square millimeter. Important for our customer is also that the material is really resistant to galvanic processes. This is important as these galvanic processes are more or less, let's say, the final step in producing these jewelries. And this material is also completely biocompatibly tested in Austria, from the Austrian Research Center. And that's an important part for us, because all what we handle here, what we offer to our customers, is in a frame of a clean technology. That's an important part for us. So let's now switch over to HyCeram. Here you see a picture which is similar what you have seen in on the LuxArt presentation, but you see much more white spots are involved, also in different sizes. As we mentioned before, 60% is the content of such a cartridge you see on the right side. Particle size is the same, it's also less than 1 micron. And involved are also more or less the same other elements. The initiator is different, as this material needs certain heat and pressure to get cured in an oven. We will see afterwards. If we look at the advantages and benefits of this HyCeram, you see even this increased surface hardness. It's also excellent color stable, UV stable. We have high glossy polishable surfaces. And of course, with such a material you can recreate almost any Pantone or RAL colors which we get from customers. And that's a very important factor, because many brands have some ideas in mind and they exactly want the color they have in mind. With HyCeram we have also day and night designs possible. Together with some luminescence pigments we add to the material. This is useful for some watch applications on hand, on bezels. But more and more also jewelry use this technology for wedding rings, for example, to add on the wedding date or the names or whatever in a visible form, also in the darkness. The material is temperature resistant, up to 200 degrees Celsius, and also here are second steps possible, like you can drill some holes into it, milling processes, laser or mechanical engravings, electroplating, and whatever is possible. And of course this material is biocompatibly tested exactly like the LuxArt material. I think this was now for me the start into the systems. I wanted to give you an overview on these 3 premium color design systems. And as a next step, I would now like to go into the processing steps. And for this, I would like to ask Mariana to go into these details. Oh, I forgot something. Maybe before you start, we have, when it comes to the processing, we have initial and follow-up processes and possibilities. So we have filling techniques, so it's a classical way to get the liquid material from the cartridge on the metal substrate. We have also quite some customers, they do not use the liquid form, they work with the already cured ones. So they get from us some milling blanks and then CNC machine these milling blanks to the objectives they wanted to achieve. We work on a project on injection molding, and we have some customers that they use a special technique. We call it a print technology. So it's some printed foils and then covered by our transparent materials. But most important that besides this first step is that we have also the possibility to work on second steps. As I said, after the first layer is done, laser engraving, mechanical engraving is a possible way. Quite some customers use that. They leave it as a textured form or they refill it with a contrast material. As I said, there is some drilling possible, turning, milling, electroplating, and what is also an interesting creative way is that customers can really set stones directly into the material. So when we talk about effective processing, what can we do? We have the opportunity of the basics, so with the first step, and we can follow up with some second steps, and there are some more creativity than only giving a plain color. But now it's really time to hand over to Mariana.
My name is Mariana. I'm the marketing manager here at Invicon, and I am especially here for all the application engineering. So if you have any questions at the end, of course, we will go through all your questions. And so I just want to show you or to learn to you a little bit the machines we are using and the process actually, how is the application of our materials. So maybe first, Dominic in the regie, we go to our machineries just to have a small, an overview about our machineries, just to let you know what you have to, or what machinery you have to use for what especially. On the left side, you can see our Ceram Lux. This is for serial productions, the blue light curing machine. For example, if you want to cure many jewelleries, you can put it into the Ceram Lux. Also, the Ceram Lux is there is an option for nitrogen curing, and I come back again why you can cure by nitrogen. We will see that later on. But there is also optional, you can cure with nitrogen. In front of the Ceram Lux machine, there is our small hand gun, I would say our small blue light curing gun. The blue light curing is used for all our light curing materials. That means, for example, Luxon, as you heard before from Peter, Luxon and LuxArt are light curing materials, and for that you need a special blue light curing unit. So there are, as I said, there are two units, the small one, the Twin Lux Dual, and for serial production there is the Ceram Lux. So we are in a range of blue light UV. That is nearly the same a dentist is using, because our materials are coming from the dental industry, and this is in between 450, 470 Newton meter per nanometer. Yeah, sorry. So for Luxon and LuxArt, as I said, because this is light curing materials, you just need the tens. So you can see Luxon is intense. That means that you have to mix it very well, because the color pigments are settling down on the bottom. And the very first light curing material in cartridges is LuxArt. So you don't have to mix the material up, and it's very, very easy, because then you don't have any air bubbles. So it's already mixed for you in cartridges, and for LuxArt you need a dosing system. So this is the dosing system for our cartridges. This is used for LuxArt, for example, and also it is used for HyCeram cartridges. We have two different sizes, a small one and the bigger one. The small is 5 milliliter and the big one is 30 milliliter. The good thing is that with the dosing system you can apply very, very easily, and you can apply in very thin lines, for example. It's very easy. You don't have air bubbles, for example, which is our biggest, I would say, problem. So that's why really if you want to work with light curing material, then of course is LuxArt a very, very good option for you to work with cartridges. On the right side there are two units which are used mostly for HyCeram. This is our preheater. So here you can heat up the color on top if you want, for example, to mix two colors together, or if you want to change the viscosity. In HyCeram we have two different kind of viscosities. We have high viscosity, which is a little bit thicker, and we have middle viscosity, which is a little bit thinner material. And if you want to, for example, you bought the high viscosity product. Of course, with the preheater station, you can put it into the preheater station and then you get a middle viscosity material. So that could be very useful if you have very small pieces or very fine lines. And next to the preheater station, there is our Ceram power device. The CeraPower device is for curing HyCeram. HyCeram does not need a special curing technique, and therefore we have our CeraPower unit where you cure HyCeram with heat and pressure. So inside the pot we have a liquid, a thermal liquid, and we cure with 120 degrees, 4 bar pressure for 60 minutes. Good, so these are our devices, first of all, just to have an overview. And now we go back to our presentation, just to show you how the process of applying Luxon, LuxArt and HyCeram. In general, the process is always the same, except the curing part. So first of all, which is very important for all your jewelries, is the sandblasting. So please, sandblasting really is very important because we need a rough surface, and it's not only enough if you just rough it with an instrument. So we need this structured surface, I would say, with the sandblaster, and that is very important, and for that we have a special sand, and this is 110 μ. So please sandblast between 3 and 6 bar, I would say 4 bar in between, 4 bar pressure and with 110 μ corundum. After sandblasting, it's very important that you clean your jewelry very well, and cleaning is ultrasonic cleaning is perfect. If you have, also please use a steamer. So ultrasonic cleaning and then steamer. If you don't have ultrasonic cleaning or a steamer, then of course you can burst your jewelries very good under soap water and clean them very well. The next step after cleaning is you rinse the jewelry with distilled water and then with alcohol. And after that process, it's very important that you don't touch the jewelry with your fingers. Always wear gloves, please. This is very important because of the bonding between the metal and our material. So after cleaning, you have to air dry it, or if you have a blowing system, of course you can blow your jewelries, just let them dry very well. The next important step is the bonding step. And for the best bonding, we have a link pen and a bond material, which is light curing material. That means that you have to cure the bond with a light curing gun or with the Ceralux, the serial production unit. So you apply a very thin layer of link on your jewelry part, and also please you have to apply on edges, corners and on the surface. After that you let that dry, you let the link pen dry for about 1 minute. After that we apply a very thin layer of bond on our jewelry. So it's very important that you use a small, like a burst. You can put a little bit the bond on your jewelry, just a thin layer, and then you have to cure it out with the light curing gun. And there it's very important that you use this blue light curing gun we have in our system. After curing, and that is also very, very important, there is an inhibited layer. Always, if you cure light curing material in an oxygen atmosphere with a blue light, you will get an inhibited layer. What is this inhibited layer? It's like an oily film on top. And this oily film, it could it could make some problems in the process after applying. So that means we don't want this oily film on top. That's why we remove this oily film with a sponge. That is what I said to you with the Ceralux unit. We can cure under nitrogen. If we cure under nitrogen atmosphere, we include the oxygen, and then you don't get this inhibited layer. So that means if you cure with nitrogen, you don't have inhibited layer, you don't have to roll over. If you cure just normal under oxygen, you will get the inhibited layer. That means you have to roll over this inhibited layer with the sponge. After that, we go for applying our material. And that means it doesn't matter if you apply Luxon, it doesn't matter if you apply LuxArt, or even HyCeram, the process is always the same. Sandblasting, cleaning, bonding. And then we apply the material. That means, for example, if you apply Luxon, you just stir the color up and then you apply by hand. If you apply LuxArt, you can apply with the dosing system. And also, if you apply HyCeram, you apply again with the dosing system. Caution, light curing materials have different curing depth. That means it depends on the color you are using. For example, black color, red color, white and orange colors, they are really, really difficult to cure because the light cannot go through the color. So that means, herefore, we have to work in layers. For example, if we have, for example, a 0.6 millimeter thickness of our jewelry, so we have a gap 0.6 millimeter, and we want to put black color. That means we have the 0.6 millimeter and we have to overfill the jewelry because we go for grinding. That means, for example, let's say 0.8 millimeter thickness in total. For 0.8 millimeter thickness in black, we need 4 layers. 0.2 millimeter curing, 0.2 millimeter curing, 0.2 millimeter curing, and so on. So that is very, very, very important for you if you want to work with light curing materials. It doesn't matter if it's Luxon or LuxArt, it's always the same with light curing materials. So please, always, if you use these materials, check on our website. There is a color chart, and under each color you can find the maximum color thickness of each color. With HyCeram, of course, you don't have this, I would say, a little bit of a disadvantage, because with HyCeram you can put as huge layer as you want, for example. So there is no problem with any colors. You can use black or whatever, or brown, or pearl colors, for example, and there is always one layer. Next, also important is this overfilling. That means we have always to overfill our jewelries. We cannot fill only until the surface, because we need to grind and polish our materials. So also, of course, with HyCeram we overfill a little bit, then we cure it out, and then we go for grinding and polishing. And again, the differences between light curing and HyCeram is the curing process. That means light curing materials with the blue light, and HyCeram with the Ceram power device with heat and pressure. Good. So I would say we have a short video. Okay, just a small stop here. You saw the process of the sandblasting and the cleaning, and really take that really in your mind that this part is really important for all our materials. Good, so then we go forward. Actually here you can see very, very well the difference between HV and MV material, for example. Here we took a HV material, but we heated it up in our preheater station, so then you get the MV color. Important for you is to know, if you have round pieces, please always use MV. It's always important for round surfaces. If you have flat surfaces, you can use also HV and MV. Good, let's start again. Here, a small break again. We have two different kind of bonds with HyCeram. We have the normal bond and we have colored bond. The difference is that for every color with HyCeram, we have the colored bond. And if we cure the bond, of course, there is a small gap visible. That means if you are maybe in the high-end jewelry sector, it's not very nice to see this gray gap in between metal and our material. For that, we have our colored bond where we can use it, and then you have really metal and then the color. So you cannot see the bond in between. Let's go again to the video. Just to stop here for 1 second. When we apply our materials, and especially when we apply with the dosing system, there are some things which are very, very important. First of all, we apply always in one direction. We don't go back and forward. This is very important because otherwise we will create air bubbles. And also we don't go up and down. The best thing is always to stay with the needle, and it doesn't matter if there is 0.4 millimeter, 0.6 or 1 millimeter or whatever. Please stay with the cannula in the material. Don't go back and forward. We don't paint, for example. We are doing filling technique. And for the filling technique, it's very important to apply in one direction. But we will see that now in the video. Another thing which is very important if you cure HyCeram is that you put the jewelleries very slowly into the thermoliquid. The thermoliquid is very thick. It's not like water, it's like oil. So if you put the object holder into the thermoliquid, you create air bubbles. There is no other way, there are air bubbles. And that's why it's so important to create this second layer, because the air bubbles which are created in the thermoliquid would sit on your surface. So if you cure it out and you don't have the second layer, the air bubble sits on your surface and then you will have a hole. That's why we have the second layer. We put it very slowly into the thermoliquid and then we cure the material out. I go back to the video. Also, one thing which is very important here on this video, we can see that we turned it on our CNC machine. Of course, you don't have to turn it always with CNC. You can turn it with your hand pieces, and please start with a grinding size of 600 and then go up till 4,000 grain size. This is very important, please, that you go up step by step till 4,000. If you really want to achieve the best polishing surface you could get out of this material. Actually, if you grind as high as possible, you will remove all the small scratches in the material. And as higher you are going, as much better is the polishing result in the end. Good, let's go back on the video. Of course, the drag finish is nothing which is very usual or is important to use. Of course, you can skip this step, okay? Let's go. The polishing part is also something which is very, very important. We polish in 3 or actually in 4 steps. The first step is the S10, and herefore we need about 3,500 RPM. If you can change the RPM on your machine, then of course please go up to 3,000. If you cannot change it on your machine, then okay, go all these 3 steps with the same rotation, but actually it would be good if it's possible to change the RPM. So we start with 3,000 RPM with the S10, then we go to S20, we reduce on 2,000 RPM, and then the third step is S30. We reduce on 1,000, 1,500 RPM for the super finish. We have also a liquid, this is called L50, which is also used, it's very useful for the super finishing. It's a liquid where you can put it on your cotton buff, and you just polish again with 1,500 RPM. So yeah, please, if possible, use our polishing pastes, which we recommend highly with HyCeram. If you work with LuxArt or Luxon, of course you can use another polishing paste. We also have another line which is called the Luxor line, and yeah, otherwise of course you can use any other polishing paste, but for HyCeram we really highly recommend to use our polishing paste, which we have created together with the company Merar. So let's go back to the polishing step. There are also small design options which you can create with our materials. For example, the laser treatment. Maybe we can show you also our jewelleries, our live jewelleries. There you can have maybe a better idea of some jewelleries. The laser treatment is also possible with Luxon and LuxArt and HyCeram, of course. You can laser engrave the material and leave it like this, like a 3D, for example, a 3D optic, or you can fill it again with a second color. Then we have also the luminescence effects, which are our day and night designs, for example, mostly for the watch industry, the colors which are glowing in the night. And also very important for you to know is the stone setting. So you can set stones directly into the material. If you heat up the cured material, you drill the hole for your diamond, a tenth smaller than the diamond is, and then you set the stone into the hole, and then you cool the material in a fridge, for example. Then you can get the diamonds setted without using a glue. These are guilloche designs. Of course, you can use also this special guilloche technique. And then you can fill it with, for example, with a transparent Luxon material, so then you can see the structure on the surface. This also creates a very special 3D look. Also, one thing which is very important, especially for me and for our company, is that our materials, they are REACH materials, they are biocompatible. So that means that these materials are tested, and all the materials are coming from the dental industry, and that's why, and that is because it's so important for us to have these clean materials that you can use it even in your mouth. So of course we don't want to have colored teeth, but it's also very important for us that all our materials are REACH, are biocompatible. You don't have any irritations on your skin or whatever. There are no chemicals inside which are bad for your health, and that is really important for the company Invicon, and we are very proud of that we created such materials which are very, very clean for this environment, actually.
Before we end up and before we go into the next questions and answers, we would like to come back to the basic what we talk about. When we talk about colors, we purely talk about emotions. Emotions and colors, and to give you a bit an idea on this, we would like to show you a video where you on the one side will see our color range, how is it structured. On the other side you will get some emotional impacts on the colors, and yeah, I would like to start this now. Just have a few minutes time, go through our color range and enjoy the beauty and the emotional things of The World Speaks in Colors.
So, welcome back and thank you for your attention. Actually, I would like to go through some questions you wrote in the chat. And of course, there is time. If you want, you can ask the question also directly to me. So the first question actually was, I think the porosity of the enamel and when it pops off. Actually, something is very important for you to know. If, for example, there is a very big surface, you can use a lot of retentions, or maybe you have to use then retentions. Retentions are anchor points where the material can grab on. That could be also an undercut or another anchor point where the material grabs on, yeah, like an anchor point. Also the question was, I have worked in a dental lab, are these similar to dental composite? Yes. It's very similar to dental composite material. So actually the base material is coming from the dental industry, and of course we have a little bit different ingredients, I would say, in our recipe. But yeah, the idea is coming really behind of the dental industry. What is the thinnest application you could recommend? The thinnest application is 0.5 millimeter. So, or better 0.6 millimeter. Under 0.5 millimeter there is really a little bit a problem of the bonding. Yeah, that could be that if the jewelry drops down, for example, that it could break, or also maybe when you go for grinding and polishing, that the material is not enough, and then it could be that it drops off. Does the color adhere to cast surfaces? Please, yes. You need to do also the sandblasting with casted surfaces. Sandblasting is always a must. So please, don't skip this part. Is it possible to mix the pre-made colors to create other shades? Yes, of course, you can mix the colors together, but please don't mix, of course, HyCeram with light curing materials. You can mix the light curing materials, so that means Luxon and LuxArt, or of course all the LuxArt shades, all the Luxon shades, but HyCeram is is another technique because of the curing. So that means you can only take all the colors from HyCeram and you can mix them together. Can it be in matte finish? Yes, of course. You can grind it in matte finish, of course. So then you just take a grain size, a rough grain size, and then you grind it matte. Is it possible to remove the color? Yes, it is possible to remove the color. For example, if you did a mistake or something, whatever, you can burn the color. Yeah, actually you take an industrial heater and you go up to 400 degrees, and then the material starts to it cracks actually. It's not melting, it's cracking, and then you can take everything out. So with 400 degrees Celsius. Is the color application the final step in making a piece? No, actually our final step is really grinding and polishing. it's always a little bit difficult to, first of all, to apply exactly on the right surface. And the second thing is to get really the best result out of the polishing. You need to polish by hand. So this is actually very important. So I would say really the last step of all our materials is grinding and polishing. What else? What else? Does the color always need to be applied to a recess? Can an entire surface be coated? Actually, yes, we need always to have something like a pocket. So the really difference between other materials in the market is really that our materials are filling materials. So it's not like the painting materials maybe you know in the market. It's really, you need a pocket. Normally you need the surface, you need also some walls. But if you want to make, for example, some surfaces which are without walls, you have to use special retentions. For anybody who wants to know more about that, of course we can send you some more informations, detailed informations about this. And also on our YouTube channel you can see the outside coating step-by-step video. So there you can see exactly how the ring or the jewelry has to be built up to make these outside coating materials. How long does a cartridge color stay fresh? Actually, our materials have an expiry date of 3 years. After 3 years, I have to say that the material does not damage, but it could be that the viscosity of the material is not the same as it was before. So that means if you have, for example, a very old material and you use it for a ring, it could be that it starts dropping if you put it into the Ceram Power device. So yes, of course, our materials have an expiry date of 3 years, and it's very important that you store black and brown colors in the fridge. Especially if you are living, for example, okay, you are from the UK, but if you're living in Dubai, for example, or in very hot environment, we recommend to store all our materials in the fridge, and then 30 minutes before using, you take it out and then you apply just normally. Is the color application the final step in making up? Oh, no, I had this, sorry. Okay, if you want to set one color into the other, actually there is only one way to make, for example, a double color design. You can create, for example, the whole surface with the first color, then you go for laser engraving, and then you fill up the second color with another step actually, and then you fill up the second color. Or you need to have a border in between. There is no other way. If you put the color and another color in the same space, it will never look very nice because the colors go one into the other, and yeah, that looks not really nice. So you can make pockets, different kind of pockets with the borders in between, or you can cure it out, then you go for laser engraving, and then you put the second color on top. Yeah, the special colors. That's a very good question. We can create every or nearly every Pantone color which is available. Actually, you have to give us, for example, the Pantone code or the RAL code, or if you have another color sample of whatever it is, you can send it to us and we can create the special color for you. The cost is about, please excuse me if it's not really right, I think 890 euros for the color matching. Okay, great. So 890 euros for the color matching, and the thing is that you have to take five cartridges of 30 milliliter. Sorry. The thing is that our machine cannot produce less, and that's why, unfortunately, we have to create these 150 milliliters, and that's why you have to take 5 pieces of 30 milliliter cartridges. I think the cartridge is approximately about 300 euros. Simona? HyCeram? Yes. Approximately, okay, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly the prices, but approximately. So then you can sum all these together, so it's about 890 for the color matching, and then 5 pieces of 30 milliliter. Yes. Another question. Okay, yeah, the stone setting. Actually, the stone setting it's really, really easy. So you have your jewelry and you cured the material out, you go for grinding, and you can go also for polishing, because polishing after setting the diamonds is not good. You will have all the polishing compound in your diamonds, in the holes. So that's why we finish our jewelry. We go grinding and we go for polishing. After that, we heat up our ready jewelry. We heat it up to 60 degrees. And when we heat HyCeram, it expands. Then we drill the hole for the diamond a tenth smaller than the size of the diamond. You drill the hole, you set the stone, and then you cool the material down in the fridge. That means that the material closes again and grabs the diamond so that it cannot fall out of the setted stone. So you don't need a glue, you don't need two component glue, for example, nothing. You just set the stone like this. You heat the color up 60 degrees, you set the stone and you cool it down in the fridge. Oh, where is my, oh, sorry. Okay, so next. Okay, if you have, of course, the diamond setting again, it depends on the size, of course, of the diamond, okay? So please, if you have really, really big diamonds or big stones, and I would really recommend to take a two-component glue. If there are small diamonds, of course, you can set it like this without using a glue. Actually, the stone size is not so big, and the color does not shine through the diamonds. So the color of the diamond will always remain like it is in original. So there will be no shining from our materials. No. The question is here, how safe is the materials to use? Do you need to wear any PPE or wear masks? Of course, no, not. You don't have to use anything, just gloves. And the gloves are not because the materials are dangerous or whatever, the chemicals are very strong. It's just because we have this oily film on our fingers. And this oily film which we have, or everybody has on its fingers, that could damage the bonding between the metal and our material. It's just the bonding part for what we need to use gloves. Actually, you don't need to wear any masks. All our materials does not smell. They don't have any smell, bad smell or whatever. So you can work really also in a small atelier, for example, and yeah, so all materials are clean, all materials are fresh, like in the dental industry, so you don't have to be afraid of anything. How do you dispose of the product? Sorry, what's the word for dispose? Ah, okay, thank you. Yeah, actually, if you have to throw the materials away, then please, it's always good that you, for example, if the expiry date is too long and you want to throw the material away, it's always good that you put it out of the cartridge, cure it out, and then you throw it just in the normal garbage, yeah, waste. Or can you mix the colors and come up with your own colors? Yes, you can mix, as I said to you, you can mix all the colors together, but just please, again, don't mix light curing materials with HyCeram or HyCeram with light curing materials. That does not fit because of the curing process, the different curing process. Okay, no, the next question is, can the diamond not fall out if the temperature changes? No, it cannot fall out because the material expands. As I said, the material expands, the diamond is sitting into the hole, and then the material closes up again. And that is really also the pressure where it comes to the center, presses the diamond so much that it does not fall out. Yeah, actually, I don't know if there is another question. I know it was a little bit, it's a little bit too long. Yeah, if anybody has a question. Okay. If you have any question, please feel free to contact us at any time. Also, Sally, thank you so much for organizing all this. And yeah, we are coming all together, saying thank you to you guys for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. It was a real pleasure to introduce you and to have our journey into this colorful world. Simona?
Micro, I'm sorry.
Baby.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So thank you guys very much for everything. Please feel free to contact us at any time. Sally, thank you so much for everything. It was a pleasure for us, and hopefully we see you soon. Maybe at a Vicenza fair, or maybe here in Austria if you want to come for a workshop.
Okay. Have a great time.
Have a great time. Thank you so much for your attention.